Thanks so much for joining us in today's webinar after a little bit of delay. We have a great topic for you. The topic is so fundamental to what is going on and really the revolution of e-commerce. E-commerce is making up about 2.3 trillion today. It's expected to hit about 4.5 in 5 years. We're already at 10% of all retail sales. So how do we understand it? My name is Tom Affinito. I'm the VP of Product Marketing here at Kenshoo. And we're going to dive deep into the product advertising aspect of this, which we think is going to be so fundamental to driving the continued growth in this sector. Let me tell you how we're going to handle the topic today and get us into the agenda. We are very happy to start with a real research and analytic perspective from Forrester. We're going to follow that by diving deep into some of the solution strategies and capabilities that we found to really resonate with brands and agencies that are really getting involved in product advertising, and then actually talk about some real nuts and bolts issues on how to do this and go forward and what the learning is. And we're going to do this with two great speakers today. Our first is Oren Stern, or actually from Kenshoo, Kenshoo's general manager of our e-commerce solution. We're actually going to hold him back. He would love to be first, but we're going to hold him back to start with research with one of my favorite Forrester analysts, Colin Colburn. Colin has focused for many years on both search and discovery marketing, really looking at trends, search engine optimization, voice search, and coincidentally for today's topic, Amazon advertising also. And so he's a real expert who's going to start with some research. Let's click over. Colin, why don't you take it away and give us some insights into this important area?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Tom. And like Tom said, Colin Colburn, I'm an analyst on Forrester's B2C marketing team, cover everything around search marketing at Forrester, so SEO, paid search, Amazon advertising, voice search, kind of run the whole gamut around how customers find and search for information, products, brands, etc. So today, I'm going to start by talking about Amazon and obviously this really exciting topic that Tom introduced us into. And I want to start by actually talking about something that doesn't totally have to do with Amazon. I want to start by focusing on where we see marketers focusing most of their time on acquisition, which is around Google. Google being the primary place where customers go, or the primary place that we believe customers go to find anything around information, products, and brands. And I like to start with this phrase because how often have you heard someone's response to a person's question or any sort of argument you might be in with friends or colleagues and people saying, just Google it, right? We hear this all the time. But that is not necessarily the case anymore because people do not just Google it. And what I mean there is that customers have many different places they can go to find websites, to find information. This is backed up in our data pretty clearly. In a recent survey, we asked over 4,000 U.S. consumers how they recently found the website that they visited. And what we saw in that is that there are lots of places that customers find websites, which traditionally Google was the unquestioned place where people went for this kind of information or for websites in particular. And we've seen natural search engine results, the top answer here, go down pretty significantly over time, not to one in particular category or channel, but just everything else increasing as consumers use technology and use more avenues to find websites, to find information. And the reality is that customers have tons of options, again, to find and look for information. And I'm having a little bit of trouble advancing the slides here. And I wanted to talk about this as discovery, the broader idea of discovery marketing. And the customers use all of these channels to discover in some way. We most often talk about this in two forms of discovery. First is what is the most common, which is intentional discovery. So this would be going to Google or going to Pinterest or Trivago or any place where you can go to intentionally look up information around products or brands. This is what we think of as classic kind of search marketing. And then there's more of serendipitous discovery, where you happen to find something like on Facebook while scrolling through a news feed or through watching TV or online video, and you happen to come across an ad or a piece of information that you might not have been thinking about or might not have been looking for information into, but you happen to come across that product or that piece of information. The important thing to note here is that discovery marketing is search marketing. The idea of a broader discovery marketing objective is something that a search marketer should be focusing on. You have to be considering and accounting for each of these channels that your customers go to look for and find information. And specifically in the discovery marketing realm, I want to talk about Amazon. Amazon is becoming a much bigger part of search marketing. And that means if Amazon is a channel where you are selling products, you must consider it as part of your overarching search strategy. And you should be ensuring that your products are showing up prominently within Amazon's search results. Question here is why? Why do we think that? Why is Forrester saying this? And it's simply because consumers are overwhelmingly turning to Amazon for product discovery. This shows up in our data. Again, in fact, according to our latest consumer technographics data, 31% of U.S. consumers use Amazon to research their most recent purchase, which was the top result for this question. You can see compared to search engines only showing up at about 21% where people were doing that research for the most recent purchase. Now, this statistic, whether it's from Forrester or other reputable research companies, the big question is not necessarily the number, but why is this? Why do customers gravitate towards Amazon rather than Google or Bing, for instance? And to me, the answer is that, well, Amazon gives you all the answers. Amazon gives you answers to any question you could possibly have, whether it's descriptions and pictures of the product, or it's side-by-side comparisons with other similar products, or information on the size and dimensions of the product, and also customer reviews being a very big part of what consumers go to Amazon for. Really, at the end of the day, Amazon has it all. It's their biggest differentiator against any other place or even any other retailer's website. So we often think of Amazon as really the single place for online purchase behavior, right? When it comes to products or things you can buy on Amazon. The thing here is it's not just online where Amazon is so dominant in how people research and find products. Amazon is also highly influential offline as well. I like this quote that I have from a director of a very large CPG firm. He recently admitted that they're not listing their products on Amazon just for them to be sold there, because only 1% of all North American sales were coming from Amazon. He told us the real reason we were listing our products is because customers were using Amazon as a research channel and then going and buying in store. That's a pretty profound statement, I think, and it shows that Amazon is much more like a marketing channel rather than just a direct e-commerce channel, because it's influencing the whole shopper journey, not just online research and not just online purchasing. And the other way that we know that Amazon is looking more like a marketing channel is because marketers are optimizing their product listings like they optimize websites for Google, which is pretty interesting and pretty exciting. Our most recent search marketing agency's wave of client references that we surveyed found that 21% of marketers are optimizing their product listings in Amazon so that they can appear higher within Amazon search results. And that's up 13 percentage points from just the year prior in 2016 when we ran the same survey. So you can see a heightened increase in how marketers are viewing Amazon as a place to increase discoverability of the products that they're selling there. And the telltale sign, I think, that Amazon is now a part of marketing is because they have ads. And these are ads that are showing up in many, many search results. Now, one caveat here is that Amazon has a lot of ads, and they're showing up, as you can see in the screenshot here, in a lot of different search results. And in some cases, they are dominating the page. But the interesting caveat is that Amazon's showing these ads within their search results, but do customers actually know where that there are ads on Amazon, or that they are showing up, or even where they show up? And a recent study actually looked at this question, and what it found was that Amazon's ads are viewed kind of differently from consumers. 65% of Amazon shoppers didn't notice the ads within Amazon. A huge number. And when you look at the people that did notice, 25% of those that noticed found them to be helpful or relevant ads. Now, this is really what makes the ads different on Amazon than any other channel, is because they're not intrusive, they're not interruptive. Instead, they're ads that help customers whether they actually know it or not. They are relevant, they are useful for things that people might be looking for. So that's sort of what's going on today in terms of the current state of how customers are using Amazon, how they view Amazon ads. And I want to move a little bit into briefly how a marketer, any of you who are listening on the line, how you can buy ads through Amazon. And there's really three primary platforms. AMS, Amazon Marketing Services, is the most commonly used platform. This is Amazon's tool to buy search-based ads within Amazon.com. So you have to be a brand that is selling on Amazon. You have to have products that are listed there. But it's a great way to show visibility of your products within searches that people are doing on Amazon, since we know that a lot of people are turning to Amazon to do some of that research. AMG is Amazon's in-house ad team. This is the second platform, Amazon Media Group. This in-house ad team helps marketers buy ads across Amazon's full network of properties like Fire TV, Kindle, etc. And the third platform that Amazon offers is AAP, Amazon Advertising Platform. This is Amazon's demand-side platform that any marketer can use to buy ads programmatically across Amazon's properties, but also across the web. So this one, I think, is actually the most interesting going forward, and as I'm going to transition my presentation to talking about the future. I think AAP is actually the most interesting because it means that if you are Bank of America or if you're BMW, you can use Amazon's rich customer data to better target consumers across the web with programmatic advertising through AAP. It's differentiating because it means that if you are using a current provider like any of the DSPs that are in the market, you pretty much usually have to bring data to the table to better target those people through display advertising, right? But this means instead with AAP, you can tap into those 100 million plus Prime subscribers and utilize the purchase and behavioral data that Amazon has on them to target advertising better across the web. So speaking of what all this means, I want to talk a little bit about how we see Amazon changing the advertising industry already and how it's going to change the advertising industry even more in the future. First, I want to start with the search sort of aspect here. AMS is expanding the definition of search marketing. A shift that we are beginning to notice, and we found this in our most recent Amazon research during the holiday season, is that many CPG companies are finally moving the responsibilities of promoting their products on Amazon through AMS to their marketing teams. So originally, shopper marketing, merchandising, e-commerce teams were the ones that were investing in AMS to increase the visibility of the products that are on Amazon. But now, as more firms ramp up their spend within AMS, they're shifting that responsibility to their media teams or to their search teams who have good and better expertise in buying search-based advertising. Basically, this is making good on the idea of evolving from a Google-only search strategy to a broader, more holistic customer discovery strategy that I talked about earlier in the presentation. Now, the next thing that I wanted to go back, and this is going back to AAP, is they are going to cause disruption in the advertising technology market. A recent study found that 44% of marketers are already using Amazon advertising platform as one of their demand-side platforms. That's a pretty healthy majority of marketers. So watch for this as a trend going forward, especially this year. Whether you're in the ad tech space as an ad tech supplier or you're a buyer of advertising technology, I think Amazon will be coming up a lot more in any of those conversations that you're having, whether it's with vendors, with marketers, with agencies. Amazon will be included in more media buying technology RFPs this year. And this will force many ad tech players to position themselves against this behemoth that has a lot of force behind it with the data that I spoke a little bit about. Now, the next thing that I wanted to get into was a huge something that I've been really passionate about and was passionate about in the research that I did, which is where is all the money for Amazon advertising coming from? And we tested this during our most recent holiday research that we did around Amazon. And what we found is that traditional media is really the primary supplier of Amazon's advertising business. Now, if any of you paid attention to Amazon's earnings release from the first quarter, you saw that they had explosive growth in their advertising business. It's about a $200 billion business for Amazon. Definitely no small pocket change. And this means that traditional media is going to be the one that's going to supply most of the dollars going forward, and they will also be at the expense of Amazon's ad business. So think TV, think print media, think radio. These are the primary places where most marketers are getting the budget for Amazon advertising. And when you think about it, it's not much different than how the rest of digital marketing, digital media grew up, by stealing share away from traditional media. Now, I know there are definitely some of you out there wondering, well, what about Google? What about Facebook? And the answer is that we found that there is some budget that is shifting away from the two big ad giants, but it's to a much lesser extent than from traditional advertising. And that's going to lead into my final point here around what we see as the duopoly turning into a triopoly. And we do believe that this will happen in the future. Yes, today, Amazon's share of the overall digital advertising market is quite small, but it will be growing. But the most important thing to note here is that Amazon will not necessarily steal a ton of share from Google and Facebook. Instead, they will just add to the pie. We've seen this in the most recent holiday season, that marketers are getting net new incremental budget to allocate ads on Amazon specifically during the holiday season, since that for many CPG brands, I'm sure many of you out there, that is your most important time of year. So they will make the advertising pool concentrated between three major giants and form a triopoly eventually. And I think this graphic, using our customer lifecycle graphic, is a great way to depict how every marketer should be thinking about each of these giants along their customer's lifecycle. So obviously you have Google, who has historically been the big dominator, especially early in the part of the life cycle. So those true green spheres of discover and explore. But now Amazon and Facebook have entered into that discovery area, as we highlighted in this presentation. And as you move through the customer life cycle into explore, into buy, and then finally into the post-purchase engagement area, this is where you can kind of see some of the differences between how you should be looking at a Google and an Amazon and a Facebook, where Amazon is obviously very important in the buy phase and Facebook being very important in the engage phase. So as these three giants become the big pieces to the advertising market, this is how we're recommending that our marketer clients, especially on the CPG side today, think about these three advertising giants. And with that, I'd like to thank you. This was super exciting. I love this kind of research. This is stuff that I'm very passionate about, something Forrester is going to be talking a lot more about in our research. And I'll hand it back over to Tom for more information on Amazon and what Kenshoo is doing there.
Cool. Colin, thanks so much. This is really great seeing your perspective both on the shifting customer journey and the relation with discovery. but also the shifts that are going to affect all of us for digital advertising. I guess I got to throw my Monopoly game away and get a Triopoly game. I'll try to find that one, but I'm always happy to ask for more budget, which I think many folks on this call are going to be responsible to. If we throw money and we get results and we engage the consumer, I think we all win. And someone who's been talking to customers and consumers for over a year now as his sole focus is, I'm happy to introduce our general manager for Kenshoo's e-commerce solution, Oren Stern. Oren has been deeply working with brands and agencies to understand what are the issues, what are the problems to go forward and get this opportunity and make it real. And so to get that perspective, Oren, I'd love to introduce you and have you teach us a little bit about what you know about product advertising.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Colin. This was very insightful. What I want to do now in the next few minutes is really drill further into this space and maybe provide you with some of my perspectives, some of Kenshoo's perspectives on the space. But before we move forward, and one key element, and Colin, I think you started to touch on that, but I think is important and an integral part of my review, and you'll hear me kind of say that over and over again, is the centricity of the product in this e-com advertising space. Now that may sound trivial, but to properly drive results and gain the right impact for advertising and your advertising dollars, you really need to acknowledge that advertising on Amazon or any other platform in the e-commerce space is really all about the product and the consumer. And the more you understand the product and how it behaves and how consumers perceive it, and how you market it, the better off you're going to be. So the e-com opportunity, as Colin laid it out, is significant, and I'll talk in a few minutes about some of the numbers that we're seeing, and I definitely agree with Colin with your perspective in terms of the kind of incremental additional budgets that are flowing into this space. But with this great opportunity comes some real challenges that as a brand or an agency that supports this you need to realize. First, as I mentioned, it's all about the product. We say here in the slide, up here, is that's it's about understanding online product dynamics. I think it's partially true, and I think as Colin noted, your online strategy is no longer insulated from your store experience. So, getting a complete view of your products is paramount. The consumer is obviously the next leg of the stool, and one that you have to bring fully into bear in order to capture and drive value. Next in line, is your brand, right? It's easy to look at Amazon and other e-com sites as just transaction-oriented environment, but the reality, again, as Colin noted, is when you have 185 million monthly visitors browsing through Amazon, the way you represent your brand and showcase your products and is key to how you build your brand, and things like your content and your brand store experience and other elements become really critical in building and maintaining your brand. As I mentioned, e-com and Amazon are no longer just a small contributor to your plans. They're really critical components to your success. You can ask Walmart about their last holiday season. As such, I think you need to understand how to run your programs at scale and have the right infrastructure, people, and processes to be successful. Tying all of the above together, I think when you understand your product and the market dynamics and your brand and your content and really drive a smooth operation, you can really offer the right products at the right time and drive success and profitability or whatever metric that you're measuring and managing your business against. So I promise some more. I promise some more numbers. As Colin stated, we see great opportunity represented by Amazon and e-com, and what all these stats in this slide represent, is that Amazon is the place to be and should become, if it hasn't already, a key strategy in your overall online customer engagement plan. Again, I think Amazon has continuously beat analyst expectations, and I think even the $6 billion cited here by one of the analysts is probably going to be smashed through when we do the final tally for 2018. But all in all, when you look at the slide, really what it tells you is Amazon is the dominant player, and it is where you should be focusing your attention, and as you're trying to drive results in e-commerce. Drilling down, I guess one step deeper, we all can appreciate the size of the opportunity, but I think as your brand scales your operation on Amazon, you need to take some key areas into consideration. First of all, I think as any business user in this data-driven universe that we all operate in, you have to have direct, immediate, and unbiased view into your daily operations and data. When the opportunity at hand is so big, you don't have, you haven't really fully completely proven its value yet. You have to also be able to start small and then accelerate really fast and grow your activity. You also need to extract what is important from the piles of data that you have and bring forward specific product insights or specific insights in general to help you drive the right decisions. And as the market becomes ever more competitive, and it is rapidly becoming so, you need to be able to both stretch your dollar as well as make sure that while you're competing, you're maintaining your brand image and brand perception. So I think with all that in mind, and Tom, as you alluded to, we've worked with close to 300 brands today, and based on hundreds of customer requests and conversations, we've built and designed this Kenshoo platform to help cater for the customer needs on Amazon and in this e-com space. And it's really geared for advertising on Amazon and designed with that product focus in mind. And really the solution is here to help drive immediate results, because I think one of the issues that you have is when you're trying to scale, when you're trying to bring your performance up to speed, you need to be able to do that quickly, intuitively, and with as much automation and as much ability to really drive your operation rapidly. So what I'm going to do next in the next few slides is kind of drill a little bit deeper into how Kenshoo does this and how do we solve for some of these challenges in the e-com space, and how we help drive better results. So I think first and foremost, the first critical element that we solved for our clients was the ability to report and gather insights on their AMS activity. I think those insights include information about campaign results and customer behavior and product performance and so on and so forth. And I think with Kenshoo, the idea was that you're able to extract insights such as your customer behavior alongside the whole purchase funnel, and how and where and when the consumer and the customer converts. And if you're a major brand or sophisticated seller, you can really look across your entire product sets and brand activities all in one place, and really stare and compare your performance and understand your consumer reach. The second major area of strength and really one of the biggest challenges that our clients came back to us with is the ability to scale the program from 0 to 60 or not to 100 if you're using the metric system in an instance. Kenshoo provides automation tools that really allow you to scale the program without having to increase your costs or manpower to do so. And whether it's taking actions in bulk or driving full automation of your program, the solution is really built for the brand or the agency that wants to either run it big scale or even start small and then ramp up rapidly to achieve results. As I mentioned before, and I promised that that there'll be a recurring theme. The solution is focused on product-driven advertising and engaging across that. And with that in mind, we've built capabilities pretty much from the ground up to help capture all aspects of the of product performance in one place. And to understand your product, you want to be able to see not only the campaign performance, which is important obviously for advertising, but also understand many of its attributes such as price and customer reviews and other relevant products in the category and so on and so forth. And then last but not least, as I mentioned, as things become more competitive, you want to help drive better results with your paid investment. And the way we do that is leveraging machine learning and AI, or infamous about buzzwords, to really drive help drive capabilities to help the system help you achieve those objectives. And whether your objectives are improved ACoS or ROAS, whichever way you want to look at that, or just being able to spend your budget and achieve your sales increase goals on Amazon, we have provide the tools to help drive that. So I'll take the next couple minutes to kind of walk you through some, a little bit more granular insights as to how this is done, and then we'll switch over to some of the specific customer examples of consumers or of customers using our solution. So the first thing when we talk about is scale, right? And the Kenshoo solution provides you with really these core capabilities to scale your operation and then really do it quickly. The main focus here is doing more with the same investment and helping you spend time on strategy and achieving the best results instead of spending that on manual operation. And whether it's taking bulk actions or scheduling actions for you or just running things, in an automated fashion, all of these things are geared in order to make sure that you're not spending time on menial work and really driving results. The second element is really when you try and make better and more informed decisions. We often see clients come back to us and ask for a whole slew of ways to access and interact and engage with the data. And you need to be able to go as granular as you need to, down to the ASIN level or product level in this case, or look for insights across all of your brands, all in really in one place. And you want to be able to inquire and engage with the data pretty much indefinitely. So you want to be able to not be limited into the time frame, and you want to be able to look at this quarter over quarter or year over year, or whichever time frame you want to be able to do that to really research and understand how your activity is performing. I think making advertising on Amazon Sing really there's a need for in-depth understanding of the product and product behavior. And the way we go about doing that is providing detailed insight on things like product eligibility for advertising, or whether or not your product is performing well, and even if the product is being offered in the first place. Insights here are really critical, and they're also offered in near real time, which I think is important when you're trying to manage your program and understand what's happening intraday and react to things that are shaping and moving very, very quickly. And you can also start to gather insights on consumer perception of your products, such as customer reviews or any other data points that you're trying to get to gain better insights into competitive into your competitive situation. And then last but not least, as I said, we offer state-of-the-art tools to help drive e-com focused optimizations, and whatever your business goal is, the tools are there to help you drive results. So as I said, I promised a lot of focus on products. And with Kenshoo's Products Manager, a brand or an agency can really make more informed decisions on which products to promote based on really a multitude of insights and attributes, whether it's the price or consumer reviews or relevant category, helping you zoom in and really help you. And if you look here, for example, that 75% of products are competitive, being able to really zoom in at on the right products that you want to promote, and then leverage those insights to go after those, and again manage their performance and kind of complete the cycle. To wrap this kind of product section up, one of the most frequently asked questions by our client wasn't really only helping them hit their goals, but also to be able to plan and forecast ahead accordingly, and really to better understand the kind of the cost effectiveness of their program. Where are they hitting those points of diminishing returns, and how do they get more bang for their buck? And for that purpose, we've built this budget manager as a capability to really both automate, really help you drive results, and then really base your optimization and automation based on product insights and really understanding how your products are performing, and then optimizing accordingly, and then forecasting and being able to give you a better picture long term on how you're performing. So I think in what I want to do next is I want to talk to you a little bit about how some of our clients have leveraged the technology and some of their insights and asks, and how we help them do that. And we're in the home stretch here now, so I want to take this opportunity and we'll start with our 2018 Infinity Awards winner, which was Mindshare and Kimberly Clark, and how they leverage a solution. And Kimberly Clark's objectives were threefold. One is to capture the e-commerce share as more consumers turn to Amazon for household and personal care goods. The second one was to reduce customer friction and consumer friction by getting them to the right product for their stage in the customer journey, and the one that Colin talked to before. And the third one was to leverage Amazon's capability to build consumer loyalty and drive repeat purchases. I thought that Colin's point before about also driving people to the store is interesting, and that's probably another objective here. And what Mindshare wanted to do is provide the best strategies to achieve those goals, and really also scale their operation. And the other thing they wanted to do is scale their operation not only within Amazon but across search. And again, as Colin said, that discovery world, being able to drive that performance across the various search platforms and Amazon was something that was important to them, and they wanted to do that in one place. And that was something that Kenshoo was able to provide them with, is the ability to run the whole program, both their search advertising as well as all of their e-com program on Amazon through Kenshoo. They were able to leverage things like Kenshoo's ASIN level product insight, and use optimizations and automation to drive and really overachieve their results in terms of return on ad spend. And you can see significant return on ad spend increases here with 44%. Next one in line is another CPG brand, and the star of the story here is Starcom Performix, and working with the CPG brand, and their focus was really to be able to focus on the right products to promote out of a huge assortment of available products, and really help them drive significantly better results across the board. The notion here, and it's kind of repeating from previous slide and throughout the rest of the slides, is when you think about Amazon, you would kind of tend to go back and think about this as a channel for conversion. I think more and more we see here brands are looking for Amazon as a place to drive brand awareness, and this was another big objective here for this CPG brand. And again, the agency here was able to leverage Kenshoo and to really drive results improvement across the board, whether it's increased ROI with significant increase there, as well as drive improved conversions and reduce cost per acquisition. Some of them are things like the ability to look at your conversions, the 1, 7, and 14-day conversion windows, which really gives you a better view of consumer behavior and how they convert within the channel. I'll give a couple quick other additional examples, and then I'll switch to Kevin, and I'll introduce Kevin in a second. So the next one is a Pharma Client, and working with iCrossing, they were really tasked with increasing brand awareness and share of voice, and pretty much at all cost. And this was not only were they able to achieve that, and you can see here the 4x increased impressions, and I mean you can in theory just have thrown money at this and achieve the results. The thing was that through leveraging some of the product insights and customer reports and the ability to dimension and build their budget, they were able to drive a consistent return on ad spend while significantly driving those improved results across the board. And then the last example here is with Chaka Marketing and one of our commerce clients, and really here, and I'll do this really briefly. The focus here was really just growing the scale. This was a client that started small and wanted to really rapidly grow their revenue on Amazon and leveraging Kenshoo's just AMS capabilities, the ability to run pace the budgets and optimize. They were able to achieve those 156% increase in year over year in revenue. So with that, I want to switch gears here and wrap the session up, and I wanted to invite Kevin Wang, who's the head of e-commerce, or e-commerce director at the Ative Group, to talk a little bit about their Amazon program and how they leverage Amazon and Kenshoo to hit their results. First of all, welcome, Kevin. Thank you again for joining the session. Maybe starting from the top, when you tell our the listeners on the webinar a little bit more about the Ative Group and how you leverage Amazon to drive results for your business.
Sure. Thank you, Oren, for the introduction. For Ative Group, our journey started about a few years ago on Amazon, where we built a fairly successful brand that's generating about over 8 figures solely on Amazon. And for us, Amazon has always been the prime really advertising destination, and also where we generate a lot of our businesses. And for us, we started on Amazon about 4 years ago, when the landscape wasn't as large, but at the same time, the growth that we saw was fairly promising. But for us, we realized that Amazon was basically the new destination where most of the people would gravitate towards purchasing. And what Forrester had shared, over 30% of the product purchasers really do begin their research on Amazon. So we realized that being able to be front and present in front of the customers while they're making that purchasing decision was fairly key to our success. And for us, as Amazon continued to grow, so have the competition really began to really understand the potential of Amazon. And having a fairly robust and advertising program on Amazon would really ensure not only will we retain the current market share, but also capture new market shares as they do begin their purchasing behavior on Amazon, which will in turn create a positive feedback loop for us. And for us, we really view Amazon and Amazon advertising fairly important, because for us, we really wanted to build our business based on the scalability of Amazon. With Amazon growing rapidly in the international market space, for us, it's fairly simple. It's almost a tried and true method and process where we would test run a lot of our products on Amazon first before a wide-scale implementation. And as we see success in the domestic realm, then we slowly scale up and scale up our operations or the production of the products. And it is very much, it is very much a quick market product fit for us. And lastly, I guess with all the infrastructure that we have in place, what we have leveraged Kenshoo was that all the marketing data that we have been collecting on Amazon has been very siloed. And what Kenshoo had really helped us was really consolidate all the information under one roof and we're able to really optimize our advertising performance based off of the information that's being displayed.
Thank you. That's great, Kevin. Thank you very much. Any other thoughts or comments before we switch to the questions part in terms of kind of the value, maybe your view on kind of the future, how this is going to evolve for for the Ative Group, and maybe also the role of being both a vendor and a seller on Amazon.
Yeah, I think for us, as Amazon continues to roll out different products, especially within the advertising space, agility is it's basically key. And since Amazon, there is a delay in terms of how data is passed through on Amazon. Having any insight at all would really chart out not only the direction of the brand, but also the direction of our marketing and sales decision. And what Kenshoo has really helped us capture was that we're able to have faster data and a more accurate data acquisition, and that's fairly key to our success.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Oren, and thank you, Kevin. We have a lot of questions and a little bit of time, so we'll see if I can throw a couple. Oren, first one is going to come to you, and it was a question I think probably teed off of some of the terms with Colin introduced with vendors and sellers. And so the question is, does it matter if you're a vendor or seller? Can both of those work, when you're doing Amazon advertising and the Kenshoo solution for that?
Well, the simple answer is it doesn't really matter. The longer answer is it does a little bit. There are differences in terms of what you can and can't do, but generally speaking, if you're a vendor or a seller, first of all, you can use Kenshoo to drive and manage your advertising, and there are differences in just the way these platforms behave, the Vendor Central and AMS and the seller side. But generally speaking, if you want to advertise on Amazon, you can do that, and both of those platforms, and we support both of them.
Great, thank you. Colin, question back to you in terms of the disruption of the Google, Facebook duopoly, which I think with ad spend increases, maybe it's the addition as opposed to the disruption. But the question was, how do you explain that? Is Amazon different because they're a retailer in addition to being kind of an ad destination? Like, what's behind, kind of in summary, their disruptive aspects?
Yeah, so I think it's two things. I think it's one, classic. There are lots of eyeballs within Amazon. They're capturing large chunks of online retail sales, and it's an easy place to get your product in front of a customer, and advertising is a great way to be able to do that. So that's number one, is the reach aspect. Number two is the data. So you could make an argument that Amazon has better data than anyone today, and especially going forward with regulation in mind, GDPR being one, which is coming out in 3 days. They might be the ones that possess the best data going forward, because they already have the immediate opt-in from people that are buying products through them. I think they're able to get that consent a little bit easier than a Google or a Facebook is going to be able to get. So that's the regulation piece. And the second thing is, who else has some good behavioral data like Google and Facebook does, mixed with purchase behavior? And the answer is Amazon. So I think those are the two things: the reach piece, so they're able to sort of meet the two others on that they have gravity towards getting consumers onto their website, and the data that marketers are able to utilize from Amazon.
Awesome. I'm going to try to beat the clock and throw. I'm looking at one that may be a little bit quicker, and I'm going to reach out to Kevin. And Kevin, in your experience, working with the advertising and AMS, did you learn about like certain ad formats getting you better results in terms of strategy? Like any particular learnings that were relevant for you?
I think for us, since Amazon is a very product-heavy landscape, any ad format that really showcase the product in the best possible manner would really drive incremental performance, especially since most of the customers on Amazon are already aware of what they're looking for. So being able to display your product in a very prominent way or in a very attractive way is pretty much key to AMS success.
Got it. Got it. Boy, Colin, thank you. Oren, Kevin, thank you. Thank you. And everyone here, I won't give you all of the thank yous, but thank you so much for attending this webinar. We will shortly thereafter send you links to recordings of this so you can take further notes on all the content. I don't know if I've kept up with everything, but this has been fantastic. Thanks so much. Everyone have a great day, and we will see you in our next exciting webinar. Thank you so much.